Everything that you can think of that can go wrong under this administration has gone wrong.
I need to reiterate this very well. Nigeria is not an Islamic state. Nigeria is not a Christian state. Nigeria is a secular state.
The only reason why it is like that is because somebody believes that he's doing us a favor sitting down in the villa. If you were not doing us a favor, you would get off your skinny ass and go and get the job done.
Welcome to episode 7 of Reactions. My name is Mr. Sal, and joining me today to react to all the pressing national issues of the week are Mr. Henry Oqua.
Thank you for having me.
Mr. Houston, how's your week been?
My week has been good. It's been good. It's just been more about the happenings in the country, and basically I've just been fixated with all the events that's been going on throughout the week.
All right, that's fine. Mr. Oqua, we didn't have you last week. It's good to have you back today.
Yeah, I would like to apologize to our listeners.
What are you apologizing for?
Yeah, I wasn't here last week now, and my week, if you're going to ask me that, has been good. I have a feeling that when some people who have pending work on my table see this video, they say this is the reason why I'm not making certain deadlines. But yeah, work has been hectic, and we thank God for where we are. Okay,
that's great. Before I start with the topics today, I would like to tell everyone to please subscribe to Page 36 TV on YouTube, like this video, and please share it to all your friends. Yeah, thank you. So let's get to the first issue we're going to be trashing this week today. So a former assistant director of the Department of State Security Services, Dennis Amakri, said that the secret police informed the president, that's President Muhammadu Buhari, the federal government, and the National Assembly of the past radical pro-Taliban views of the Minister of Communication and Digital Economy, Dr. Issa Pantami, before his confirmation as minister in 2019. Amakri spoke on Punch, the roundtable on Wednesday. He stated that the minister must have been confirmed by the National Assembly due to a lot of factors, including federal character balancing, as he is the only member of the Federal Executive Council from Gombe State. According to Amakri, the DSS has information on all individuals of interest in the country. So I'm going to read a quote from this former past DSS Assistant Director. So he said, and I quote here, there is no information that escapes the DSS. We have all of it. All, he emphasized. When I was working there, we kept a catalog of anybody of interest that comes up to the limelight in this country. During the vetting process for anybody to be appointed as minister or commissioner or anything, your name is sent to the state secret service for vetting. They check your background up to the extent of your grandmother. They check your schools up to the extent of your primary school. And of course, they keep tab on you online and offline. So he goes on to say, we get a lot from open source intelligence. And I can tell you that Pantami's case, we have it. These are his words. I'm just going to finish here. So he goes on to say, but there's a political angle to it. When somebody is being appointed, if the security agencies see that there is something wrong with his name, they will send it to the appointing agency. The appointing agency will now decide, among other variables, either religious variable, federal character balancing variable, or political variable, and say that, oh yes, we know that this guy has this and that. but let us appoint him. So he says that the political decision is not taken by the SSS. Yeah, so Henry Oqua, Mr. Houston. So we have a former, so we have a former assistant director from the DSS right now, because there have been a lot of talks as to the whole controversy surrounding the Minister of Communication and his alleged link with terrorism or terrorists, and there was a conversation on social media and on the media in general as to whether the DSS did not carry out a proper investigation or whether they do not carry out proper investigation when these ministers or these federal appointees are going to be appointed. Do they do background search? Do they check to see, does this person have a criminal background? Are you linked to any terrorists? Are you a person of questionable character? So this guy came to speak, not really on behalf of the DSS because he's a former director, but he's coming out to just defend the body, notwithstanding, to say that yes, we actually do these checks. We check to see up to who their grandmother is. We look at them online, we look at them offline, and we make this information available to the president. We make this information available to the federal government, and we make this information available to the National Assembly, which is in charge of confirming these people. So he's saying that with all the allegations that have come up regarding Pantami, they did a search, they made whatever information they found available to these bodies, but they still went ahead to appoint him. I want you to react to this right now, please. What do you think about this behind the scenes information that's come up?
I think it's not the first time. If you remember during Magu's third or so confirmation with the 8th Senate, the DSS actually said they had reasons to doubt Magu's suitability for the job. They sent a dossier to the National Assembly, and the National Assembly refused to confirm Magu. You understand? Now, I think what is happening here is the fact that in 2015, with what happened with the people who left the PDP, to form the APC, what they did, which sums up the whole of the 8th National Assembly, what they did was to put the last check and balance in Nigeria. When we lost the 8th Senate in this new administration, we lost the last check and balance. What has happened here is that power has corrupted, and that absolute power has corrupted absolutely. It means that Buhari is now bigger than Nigeria. It means that the administration has now put itself first and foremost before the people that it was called to serve. Do you understand? Because if that was not the case, the judiciary will work independently. I don't think the DSS, how it is formed, I don't think the DSS will sit down and watch someone like Pantami get into the corridors of power. They must have tried everything that they could do to stop it from happening, but they must have been told, no, you can't. You don't even voice it here, because you can see the whole reaction and how every other person is taking it. You can tell that there's something that must have told the DSS, leave this matter alone. So I think that's what we're dealing with.
Yeah, so you think the DSS did their job and you think their hands were tied? Do you think they did their best in this circumstance?
So I think the DSS must have done its best, because anybody I grew up in the north, you understand, Sheikh Pantami's tafsirs, I used to hear them whether I wanted to hear them or not in Kaduna State. Sometimes it will be on radio, sometimes it will be on national, on NTA or any other local TV stations. You understand? So the things that Pantami is being accused of now, it's not as if we did not hear some of these things back then. You understand? Some of his strong views, you understand? We used to hear them, and at some point we were still young, I think just secondary school. I remember we used to hear. So sometimes he will say some things. As far away in Bauchi, he could make a statement in one mosque where he has gone to give a teaching, and will be tensed into Nwada in Kaduna. Do you understand? So it's not. I don't think it is new, and I don't think the DSS did not try everything that they could do to dissuade the president, the executive, from bringing this man in.
Okay, he said something as well, that there is the issue of federal character balancing, saying that Pantami is the only member of the Federal Executive Council that is from Gombe State. Is that enough excuse to say that, despite all they found on this man, since he's the only, probably the best candidate from this state, we must... Yeah, because that's what it looks like if you're raising federal character and saying that he's the only member from Gombe State. So are you supposed to disregard whatever you find on him as deep as terrorism, to say, let us appoint him based on federal character balancing?
I think what Amakri did here was to answer from the outside, you understand? Because I don't think Pantami cannot be Pantami cannot be top 10 among the people who can come out of Gombe State to lead any ministry of parastatal. I don't think Pantami is in the top 10. You understand? I just think what he is trying to do is just explain whatever rationale. Explain it all out. You understand? Give the people as much information as they would like to know. But I don't think that does not hold. It doesn't hold.
Mr. Houston, looking at the whole statement from the DSS right now, the former assistant director of the DSS, saying that on the DSS on a normal day, they do their jobs, they check the background of these people, they make this information available to the NASS, to the federal government and to the president. At this point in time, who would you blame for the appointment of Pantami as the minister?
Firstly, I'd like to state that Pantami is just one. This is not to digress from the issue, but I think Pantami is just one of the people in this government who is of his views that we are seeing. I believe there are a lot of them, like a lot of his ilk in this government. And I also think that Pantami is the outwards projection of the president's true personality. So if Pantami's appointment was made by whoever, however, even if it went through the fundamental checks and everything, the fact that Pantami is still there, which is an issue right now in the country, shows that the president, firstly, doesn't care about the people. The president doesn't care about this country. The president cares about his religion first. And he cares about his doctrines or whatever it is that he believes in first, before Nigeria. Because the issue right now shouldn't be who's responsible or who was responsible for Pantami's appointment. The issue should be the mistake has been made. We're not children. The mistake has been made. I think we should move past Pantami. And the only way we can move past Pantami is if the number one citizen of the country does the needful to ask this man to step down. Last week we had this topic, and when we had this topic, there weren't as much facts on this Pantami's case. But over the week, we've seen the facts and the figures. We've seen all of these things. Like we've seen proofs, we've seen evidence. Even Pantami by himself gave us an evidence. He said he actually said these things. He actually said these things. He didn't refute the claims. He came out and said, I said these things. And if he's owning up to these things, that he said it, but he said it because he was ignorant. I believe Sparta, or what's it called, Greece is the cradle of democracy, and everyone took democracy from there. So I can actually, I'll be in line to reference Greece. They say in Sparta, even a messenger is responsible for his own message. So, or for another person's message, you are the messenger, you're responsible for your words. So if Pantami is saying he said these things when he was ignorant or when he was very young, I'm not even talking about the age, I'm not saying anything, but I believe once you are above 18, you're responsible for whatever claims you make. And you should own up to it. Be a man about it. If you're a man to own up to your religious beliefs, I don't think it should be any different for you to come out. Is it because of American visa? Is that why you will not come out and say you said these things and you own up to it? Why are you telling us about how, you were young when you said these things? Okay, now he's giving us his own evidence, and we've seen more and more and more evidences about these claims. I think right now we should move past, by now we should have even moved past Pantami. We should be thinking about
if he had stepped down.
If he had stepped down.
If he had been sacked.
Because that's what we should be talking about right now. This is 1 week or 2 weeks 2 weeks on this particular issue. I think we should have moved past this by, firstly, the president doing what he's supposed to do, by having this man step down, because it is compromising national security, whether you like it or not. You have someone who's been accused of hobnobbing with international terrorists, whether he's of Abubakar Shekau's ideas or he's of his own ideas. If you have supported, this is a secular state, and I need to reiterate this very well. Nigeria is not an Islamic state. Nigeria is not a Christian state. Nigeria is a secular state. Nigeria encompasses 2 and more different religions, lots of religions. So you can't come and force your laws on anybody. And if you are going to jeopardize our international reputation, when was it? Was it during the Cold War? Nigeria took the non-aligned approach, where we said we weren't supporting the Eastern Bloc and the Western Bloc. So why would you come out now and try to make it look like? So if the president is saying, if the president has the interest of this country at heart, he should have that man step down, because clearly the whole country doesn't support this. This is just a few people saying they support Pantami. As for our National Assembly, I'm sorry to say, but I don't rate them anymore, because these are our representatives. What played out there was complete ignominy. That was so much embarrassment. All the northern representatives stood up and said they showed their support for Pantami, and these are the same people who have been crying about insecurity in their region and all of this. And you have somebody not just in charge of digital economy. You have somebody who actually sits down, who is always present during security briefing, who has actually showed support, who has sympathized with terrorists in the past, whether he did it in 19 whatever he did it now. I mean, it's like in David Onday's words, it's like saying half a dozen and 6. It's the same thing. It's still 6.
I think another thing that we need to consider here is the fact that in all of this, he has not come out openly to denounce these terrorist groups that he has been affiliated with.
He admitted to something.
No, sir.
And he apologized. He claimed he was a teenager.
Sir.
But have you come out to condemn these things and say, I said these things and I was wrong?
Where does the responsibility stop? If the president will not do anything, you as a leader, a religious leader, do you want young people to believe that this is the way to go? Are you going to come out and tell them, plainly speaking, that terrorism is bad? Do not be associated with it.
Not be associated with terrorism.
Obviously, there are a lot of people who are listening to him.
Because there are people who listen to him.
I feel like
does he feel any sense of responsibility?
On the channel's interview, but he sent somebody there who went to talk very ruthlessly as well.
No. Firstly, I think it was even wrong. With a case of such magnitude, I don't think you should be sending somebody.
That's what
I think you should be there to defend yourself.
He had the opportunity to go and do something.
He never said he never sent people to make those statements. He never sent anybody to make those claims, to make those chants and all of that. He said those things by himself. So he should come out and refute these things. Come out and condemn these things.
Yeah. Henry Oqua, Houston said something that he doesn't rate the National Assembly when it comes to these the confirmation, because they did the confirmation. You cited the case of Magu. In Pantami's case, they did not tell us about a DSS report.
Okay,
they did not.
So you see, the truth about it is, all of us who played one role or the other in the last election knew why it was important to this administration that certain people did not return to the National Assembly. We know why it was important to them. They pulled out all the stops to make sure that they had the results that they wanted in places like Kano, Kwara State, and others. Removing the check. The APC administration, when it came in, had a lot of support from the people. Yeah, some of us were more skeptical. When we saw the gameplay of the 8th Assembly, we gave some level of credibility to the administration, knowing that, bad as bad, these people will have a limit that they will bend over. In fact, the 8th Senate turned out to be the last bastion of hope in the APC administration. Now, what happened was that group of people were systemically removed from politics in Nigeria. Do you understand? Leaving way for whatever we say goes. That is what Buhari wanted from the word go. As a military dictator, you get used to these things. You get used to giving decrees, and nobody can stand in the way of what you want. You understand? Who is questioning the presidency for taking new loans? Nobody. Who is questioning the presidency for insecurity? Nobody. That's what Buhari wants.
So do you think the appointment of Pantami was intentional?
Oh, I think it was intentional. I think it was intentional. It's a build-up.
Why?
It's a build-up. I think one thing people who sympathize with terrorism have, one edge they have over people who do not really care about terrorism and who do not support terrorism is planning. Clearly, it looks like a plan, because one thing is to have somebody associated with these claims or associated with showing support or sympathizing with terrorists. Another thing is having people support that person, show support for that person who already sympathizes with terrorists. So if it wasn't a plan, I don't think it would have been a problem to ask him to step down. We've seen situations during Donald Trump's regime, because America is always our yardstick for measuring everything. So during Donald Trump's tenure or administration, we saw how many, there were a series of officers, of appointees of President Trump whom stepped down, or whom he asked to step down for different reasons.
Yeah.
He asked so many of them to step down for different reasons. You understand? So I think it is only normal that the president, with all of this trouble, all of this brouhaha going on at this point, I think it's only normal for him to ask this man to step down and let the country, at least, save the face of the country. Even if, let us agree, like I said last week, let us agree that Pantami said those things in ignorance and now he doesn't believe in those things anymore. There are two things. Let him step down, first of all, because you have to let Nigerians know that you're putting the country first. That's the thing I keep saying. Our leaders, both appointees and elected, do they really care about the people? Do they really care about the country, or they care about the positions, or they care about their interests, or they care about their original plans? These are the questions we need to ask. Because if you care about the country, if you are doing something or you're being accused of something that jeopardizes national image or national reputation, I think if all you need to do is to step down, you will step down. But when you refuse to step down and you have people chanting behind you or supporting him, this is nonsense, this is rubbish. Yesterday, the Minister of Defense said, he reiterated what Sheikh Gumi said. And I see how they back the sheikhs up. For all the things the sheikhs say, they always back them up. Sheikh Gumi said, we shouldn't refer to bandits as bandits. We should rather see them as freedom fighters. These are murderers. These are people killing, maiming Nigerians. These are people obliterating Nigerians. We could use words, we could look for more words. These are people vanquishing Nigerians by the day. And you call them, just because you sympathize with them, you said we should call them freedom fighters. The Minister of Defense, it's bigger than Pantami, trust me. The Minister of Defense yesterday is saying, 1 minute, the Minister of Defense is saying, not all bandits are criminals. That by the law of the country, everyone is innocent.
Yes.
And the same minister came back today to say, Nigeria is bleeding. What is happening in this country? Do you come out and say this and you come out, are you really fighting terrorism? Are you really fighting insecurity? So I think by the day, I'm sorry to say, Sal, but by the day, I think I'm beginning to get tired of this particular topics, because it's like we're flogging something, and this I don't believe in praying over something that requires
action.
I don't believe in talking over something that requires action, physical force or change or something you could effect by your hands.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So it's like we're thinking for people, we're talking for people, and nothing's happening at the end of the day. So I don't know what that makes us. This is the Minister of Defense who gets to have security briefings, security meetings, high-profile security meetings. Pantami also sits in that meeting too with our data. Now tell me one question: what stops Pantami, who has my data, who has everybody's data in this country, what stops Pantami from entering his computer, entering his database, since he has everybody's NIN, looking for your address and sending people to you? What stops him? Because right now, I don't trust Pantami anymore.
Especially those that are against him, right?
Especially those that are against him. And I don't trust him anymore. And I don't think you trust him. I think only a particular group of people that don't even make up close to 10% of the country trust him. And these are not Islams, by the way. These are extremists. These are the people who believe in his kind of ideas. These are the people who trust, who support him. Because I've had this conversation with lots of Muslims who are dying in the north. People who are dying in Zamfara. 50 people got killed in Zamfara. I've seen people like that who have told me they do not support Pantami's claims. Pantami has actually had lectures, according to David Onday, he has had lectures in the north that sparked up riots where people were killed. So you can't tell me every Muslim supports Pantami. Do you understand? So what I'm trying to say basically is, if the country doesn't have any confidence in you anymore, is it not proper? Is it not only normal for you to step down? Why does it have to be this difficult? So I think I'm tired of talking for people who are not willing to put the interest of the country first. I'm really tired.
The Sheikh,
Okay,
has no integrity.
Okay,
The only reason why he's holding on to office is out of greed. We all know that it gets quiet in your house when you leave office. Pantami has tasted it and he does not want to go back. All those things that he said, that he insulted leaders of Nigeria in those times, he has become one of them. The greed has hooked him now. He cannot leave. If not, integrity demands that if the people have lost trust in you, dust your feet and leave them alone.
Don't even wait to be sacked. You know. Anyway, let me just move on to the other developments on this issue. So after several calls by concerned Nigerians, civil societies, activists, security experts, some lawmakers, others for the resignation or sack of the Minister of Communication and Digital Economy for his link with terrorism in the past, the presidency on Thursday night, through presidential spokesman Garba Shehu, announced that it stands fully behind Dr. Issa Pantami. So one of the comments Dr. Pantami admitted to have made, this is one of the comments I made, I just put that in quote here. He said, "Oh God, give victory to Taliban and Al-Qaeda." Yeah, so I'm just going to read this statement from the presidency that came out yesterday. That's one of the statements that this guy said he made naively. So anyway, this is what the presidency said yesterday. Mind you, the president did not still speak. The presidency spoke, and Nigerians are always asking who is the presidency. So this is from Garba Shehu anyway. The statement reads, and I quote, the Minister of Communication and Digital Economy, Dr. Issa Pantami, is currently subject to a cancel campaign. I put this in bold here. Cancel campaign instigated by those who seek his removal. They do not really care what he may or may not have said some 20 years ago. That is merely the instrument they are using to attempt to cancel him. But they will profit should he be stopped from making decisions that improve the lives of everyday Nigerians. Excuse me. So the statement goes on to say the minister has rightly apologized for what he said in the early 2000s. The views were absolutely unacceptable then and would be equally unacceptable today if were he to repeat them. But he will not repeat them. This is the presidency speaking for him, though, vouching for him, saying that he will not repeat them. Ridiculous. They go on to say, for he has publicly and permanently, these words though, like, I'm a lawyer, so words, when you say permanently, they say he has publicly and permanently condemned his earlier utterances as wrong. In the 2000s, the minister was a man in his 20s. Next year, he will be 50. Time has passed, and people and their opinions often rightly change. That's still them defending the minister. But all discerning Nigerians know this manufactured dispute is nothing to do with the minister's prior words, but solely concern his actions in the present. So they say the administration stands behind Minister Pantami and all Nigerian citizens to ensure why are you bringing Nigerian citizens in here? Because Nigerian citizens are asking for something different, So they say the administration stands behind Minister Pantami and all Nigerian citizens to ensure they receive fair treatment, fair prices, and fair protection in ICT services. Henry Oqua. Yeah, when you read this statement yesterday, what were your first thoughts? What did you think about this? After so many calls, for the removal, and after so much silence, because if you remember, we had to change our notes at the last minute. We're supposed to react to the presidency not saying anything. So now they released this a disaster of a statement.
A disaster is even putting it lightly. Now, I want you to understand that at every point that truth has stared the Buhari administration in the face, divide and conquer was the strategy. Now, what is happening here is everybody who already supports Pantami line up here. Everybody who wants cheaper data line up here. That's what has happened. So basically, they're telling us now that Pantami is the only person that they have that can bring Nigerians 6 gig for 1.5 from MTN.
That's what it seems like.
A terrorist, or
allegedly.
No, not allegedly, Sal. This is on paper. If I share the views of the Pope, I am a Roman Catholic. Yeah. If I line up behind the Pope, I am a Roman Catholic. If I line up behind the Taliban, I'm a terrorist. Let's call it what it is. Now, if you claim that Pantami will never repeat those things, I still stand on what I said earlier. Can Pantami categorically denounce the actions of Al-Qaeda and the Taliban? Can he categorically state it out and say the acts of terrorism are wrong? Can he say that? Because, sir, I'll tell you the truth. It's just like the mafia, yeah? You can't leave one family, go to the other family, and badmouth the family you came out from and expect to live with your life. The moment Pantami opens his mouth to say that, he becomes a target. So the sheikh, cowardice, lies, do you understand? Acts of terrorism, all of these things are lined up behind him. But funny enough, this is a person that the presidency chooses to forgive and stand behind.
Yeah.
Nnamdi Kanu and his group, proscribed terrorists, have not killed one person yet. They haven't. However, they are terrorists that should never be heard of. But this same administration, when it suits them, they are willing to say people can change. That's what they're trying to make us understand. So first of all, they divide us. Second, they follow whatever rule book that was, because the narrative around this thing has not changed from the beginning when it first came out. Yeah, it was all about people are doing this to Pantami because of NIN.
Yeah, that was the
my brother. Please,
talked about that.
I have registered my NIN. I don't have a problem with the NIN. I don't even want to pay the amount that they're saying I should pay for data. Can Pantami just tell my younger ones that are coming up in the north that terrorism is wrong? That's all I want Pantami to do. He can stay there if he likes. He can stay there beyond Buhari's regime. But can he tell the young people in the north who are marginalized now more than ever? Despite the fact that there's a northerner in seat, all of them are taking up arms at every opportunity that they get. Can he tell them that these acts are wrong?
Can he come out also to tell Christians that he loves them now? That's the topic.
No, he'll rather tell his driver who he said is a Christian.
And I find it amusing, that the minister has not even spoken so highly of himself like this. And the presidency is doing it on his behalf.
Last week, you remember I told you something about damage control. I said that's one thing I've learned in this government or about this government.
Yes, there's always somebody.
There's always somebody speaking for somebody.
Yeah, but for the presidency
that's why most times when they say even the president has said this, the president has said that, I really do not believe all of those things because it's always the president has said this.
Presidency.
No. Sometimes they say President Buhari said this. President Buhari is shocked at this. It's either Gabashe or Femi Adesina. It's either one of these people. All these people talking. Buhari will end up leaving this government in 2023 and we'll realize we've only heard our president speak twice or 3 times. So how do you tell me the president said this? And it's like, these people answer for the president. They say things for the president. Now they're doing the same thing for Pantami. They come out and they say this, they say that. Anyway, that's by the way. One thing I was going to say here is, With regards to the National Assembly, I'm always talking about National Assembly because I feel like some people say the judiciary is the common man's hope. Me, the National Assembly the legislature is supposed to be my hope, because these are the people I can hold accountable collectively and say, this is Nigeria. Like I told you in the last episode, that is a miniature Nigeria. That is a smaller Nigeria. Do you understand what I mean? It's like there is a Nigeria in every seat in that place, a Nigerian in every seat in that place that represents the larger...
The entire body.
Now, we have somebody like the Senate President coming in, this administration. This is when I started losing hope in the National Assembly. The Senate President came in and said he doesn't believe in separation of powers. Until today, a lot of Nigerians do not understand what that statement. They do not understand how heavy. Guy, that statement is pressing me. You do not believe in separation of powers. Technically, you don't believe in checks and balances. You do not believe in separation of powers. And he didn't end there. He said, he's here to support the presidency. I almost threw up where I was. Because what this clearly says is, the president has you in his pocket. It's not supposed to be like this in any country. Not even in the worst countries.
They compared it to the former Senate, saying that when the Senate was not working in cahoots with the executive, they were not achieving.
Are you supposed to work together? It is not a surgery and you're a nurse and this person is an assistant doctor and this is not that.
Checks.
This is governance.
Yeah.
One person is stepping out of line and it's your duty to call this person to order. You do not believe in separation of powers. This doesn't even happen in Burundi. This doesn't happen in Bangladesh. This doesn't happen in the worst countries in the world, in the worst economies in the world. It doesn't happen. You're supposed to have people checking people. He says he's here to support. So when the Senate President, the head of the Senate, the number 3 person in the country doesn't even believe or doesn't understand his job description, my brother, how do we move forward? How do we move forward? Like, how do we move forward? You do not believe in separation of powers. When I heard this statement, I was like, let's give him time. He'll probably fall out to the presidency and he will understand his position. But till this day, even if the president says, I want to sign this bill to kill 3 Nigerians in this state, he's going to say, all right, how many do you want to kill? Are you sure 3 will be good? Won't you need an extra 4? I'm advising you. So he's more like an advisor. Some time ago, they used appendage for the presidency. Somebody used, I don't know if that was Professor Wole Soyinka, said the first lady was the domestic appendage and all that. Now I think the Senate president is acting more like that appendage to the presidency. That's what they do, not to the presidency, to the president. Because number 3 person doesn't even understand the power that he wields. So there's just so much going on at this point that it's taking me back to look at the foundation of everything. And I begin to realize that there's no foundation in the first place. There's nothing to even look at. So I'm just looking at blanks.
Wow. Henry Oqua, where do we move from here, though, with the Pantami case? Do you think Nigerians should just go home and sleep and we continue business as usual? Because this is becoming like a trend right now, you know. We make noise, we oppose, but it seems like we can't do more than that. We can't do more than shouting on Twitter, trending on Twitter, you know. Then the president or the presidency or whatever they call themselves, you know, today come out to release a disaster of a statement. We feel powerless and we go home. The minister remains in office, or whoever remains in office, or whatever is going on continues, and we just sit back and watch everything play out. What do you think we can do? What do you think we should do? Just sit down?
I think we need to tell ourselves the truth and also agree that this should never happen again.
How do we make it not happen again? Because an APC lawmaker came out to say that we can't just blame DSS or blame National Assembly, that we need to blame, he said 180 million Nigerians need to be blamed as well for the appointment of Pantami. He stated that the DSS and National Assembly are not God. You know, that they cannot know everything, that we that knew about this information could have come forward. Do you think we actually have a role to play here?
Yeah.
Do you think there's something Nigerians could do when there's an appointment that's going to be made and we have information regarding that person? Can we really do anything?
So it's not just about the appointment. At the point of the appointment, if there comes again in our history an administration that can appoint this number of people with questionable characters, if we ever have that kind of administration in office again, the Nigerian people have failed. It will mean that we did not learn in 83. We have not learned between 2015 to 2023, and we have gone again and repeated the same mistake. That's what it will mean. Now, sir, what I mean here by we must ensure that it does not happen again is for us to realize that there are only two sides to the division in Nigeria. It is not Christian-Muslim, it is not North-South, it is the elite against every other person. By the elite, I mean the people who have their straws in the jar, in the pitcher from the national cake, and those without that connection. Because it is only when you appoint a group of people who have shown clearly that they do not have respect for anything that any other person has to say. It's only when you do that you have this type of free will. Listen, sir, we had cases of corruption come up against, what's her name? Princess Stella Oqua, former Minister of Aviation. Yeah. The president may have thought twice, oh no, maybe she's being attacked or one thing. At one point, sir, at one point, the voice of the people was very clear. Very, very clear. If she has used 200 something million naira to buy 2 BMW cars, she cannot be in office. So Jonathan kicked Odua out of office up till today, that case has not been solved. Up till today, the person who, the supposed whistleblower cannot be found. The person who supposedly leaked that information cannot be found. The BMW cars cannot be found. But Jonathan nonetheless sacked her. Now we are talking about terrorism, sir. This is the largest killer in Nigeria for the last almost 2 decades. Almost 2 decades, we have been battling with this thing. And now for the first time, let's not forget as well that the president at one point came out and said every high-ranking person in Nigeria who has ties to terrorism. Do you understand? Yeah. Now he has been exposed. Exactly. Yeah. Now he has been exposed. Why can't you do something?
The president said this morning that...
Why not?
That was a recent order.
The president said this morning that 50 people that were killed in Zamfara State is unacceptable. Sometimes I wonder, is the president really interested in fighting this terrorism, or is just playing lip service? Like he's paying lip service to the whole issue that's going on? Because, I mean, we've had people, like you said, you're talking of Stella Oqua, that's one. We've had Patricia Ayete. We've had, the Toronto representative who came with a false certificate. We've had people step down. We've had people kicked out. So why is this so difficult? Like, why is this? Even the House of Reps, I think there's just so much. No the Speaker of the House of Reps, today I found out he was actually disbarred in the US for fraud, for financial fraud. He was a lawyer in the US and was disbarred. And look at him. Nigeria just happens.
Is that confirmed? I don't
yes, was Tinubu a drug dealer in the US? Was it confirmed? It is allegedly. But if you have been associated with anything of that nature, you become a person of interest. These are the things that make you a person of interest. They are saying the ESS cannot do the whole work that they need Nigerians to do. Okay, now they didn't talk about the timing. Now Nigerians are working. Young Nigerians came out and discovered this Pantami stuff, and they're bringing it out there.
He doesn't need impeachment.
He still doesn't need. He doesn't need impeachment. He just needs to say leave office. That's all. Just leave office. Do you understand? Yeah. And the fact that Pantami is still grabbing onto this power, is holding onto this thing, and he doesn't want to let go, just goes to show that Pantami doesn't really care about the country. He cares about his personal interest. He cares about his position, and he doesn't want to go back to a quiet house. That's what he meant.
Anyway, let's move on to security issues here. So this week, there were new attacks on multiple security agencies. So on Monday, it was reported that unknown gunmen burnt down Uzwankoli, whatever, divisional police station in Abia State, releasing all the suspects. It was also reported that suspected hoodlums razed down the Zone 13 police headquarters in Anambra State, leaving 2 policemen dead during the attack. So that's 2 states in the east right now. Then on Wednesday, gunmen stormed a Nigerian military camp. So they've gone to the military right now in Niger State, burning down some vehicles. It was reported that the hoodlums, suspected to be bandits, engaged the soldiers on ground in a battle that lasted for about 2 hours. Also on Wednesday, a police station in Enugu State was attacked and burnt down, leading to the death of 2 officers. So reacting to these insecurity and attacks on these security agencies, the Chief of Army Staff, Ibrahim Ataru, said that curbing banditry, kidnapping, insurgency, and secession would be a very difficult task without the required weapons and other hardware at the disposal of the Nigerian Army and other security agencies.
There we go again.
There
we go again. Weapons again.
So he called on National Assembly to, as a matter of urgency, consider these critical needs as they require proper funding. So the IGP also reacted, Usman, the acting IGP, Usman Baba. So this is what he said: while I am trying to use what I have, I also need improvement in both logistics, manpower, and equipment. As you are aware, the morale of many police officers has been seriously dampened now because of the rampant killings of officers. So we need to do a kind of motivational work to ensure that we raise the morale of the police. So right now, there have been other insecurity issues in the country, but I had to just focus on these ones on police stations. And right now we have a military camp in Niger State now being attacked, and these bandits or whatever criminals they are overpowered the soldiers still. So in my mind, I'm like, what kind of equipment do these people have? What are they coming with? You know, right now we hear that they go to these police stations, they burn down, like you successfully burn down these police stations. And we started reporting about these attacks on police stations, I think last 2 weeks. You know, so this is like the third week right now, you know, so there's like back to back, in my opinion, I would expect that once you notice that one has been attacked,
you beef up security to the rest.
Exactly. But 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now they're going to military camps. And the heads of these agencies are just coming out to say, oh, we need proper funding, we need hardware, we need equipment. In my mind, you don't have, or you guys are not, nobody's trying to get anything. Police stations are not protected. Who will not be protected? Is it the citizens that will be protected? If the police cannot protect their own police station from attacks, and we're talking about, we're talking that week, and I was asking you guys why you guys were laughing when the former IGP commissioned a radio station, you know, and I felt you guys were just being sarcastic. But right now, if you cannot protect your station, is it me that is calling you or phoning into your radio that you want to come? And I don't know what's going on. Do you guys think it's intentional that our security forces are not being equipped? You know, we talked about the 1 billion that went missing, and everything is becoming so political about the monies right now. But these people clearly do not have equipment.
So I think it is beyond the equipment. See, if you ask me, honestly speaking, I think all the new service chiefs and heads of security agencies in Nigeria, everybody's just trying to cash out and cash out well. You understand? Burata and Co cannot keep 1 billion, and then these ones will not even be able to secure any form of funding to buy weapons in their own time. They have to do something now. You understand? That's the way I look at it. However, I think we should look at it structurally. Do you understand? So, if a military camp is being attacked, it is not just the fact that these terrorists, I'll call them, because they're attacking the state. It's not just the fact that they can pull off that attack. It is a fact that these conversations, despite Pantami's NIN, these conversations happened, were completed, plans put in place, weapons brought to location, everybody assembled, attack happened.
Not one, not two, not three, not four.
And today, on my way here, I was hearing that another attack had happened in Kano. The same, I think, either police or military establishment was attacked by bandits again. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, Sal, what this means is when there's a terrible leader in place, everything will deteriorate. Everything will deteriorate. Listen, as much as we would like to knock Jonathan, yeah, the end point of terrorism under Jonathan was the DSS. it was the DSS. Up till today, Nigerians still take for granted what Jonathan did with Henry Oqua. That's in South African jail. It was the DSS that did all of that work. Do you understand? Now we have come to the point, sir, where the DSS is not even able to properly gather intelligence and inform points that are vulnerable to attacks. Do you understand? So we have degenerated in our intelligence gathering. We have degenerated with respect to trust between the security agencies and the people. We have degenerated in the quality of people that we have serving. We have degenerated in everything, hardware, everything that you can think of, morale, everything is zero. The only reason why it is like that is because somebody believes that he's doing us a favor sitting down in the villa. If you were not doing us a favor, you would get off your skinny ass and go and get the job done. How can you sit down? How many? Sir, I'm pissed, please. Let's just.
We have to be pissed though, because at the end of the day, there's so much going on, and in as much as we're laughing on Instagram, we're laughing on TikTok.
We are at war.
Like security agencies that are supposed to secure the country
we are at war.
Being attacked right now. And in my mind, I'm like, we can laugh because it looks far from us. You know, but if I'm telling you that the police station near me here was being attacked, I don't think I'll be laughing. I'll be living in serious fear and panic.
Actually, as time goes on, it's beginning to look more like an agenda. It's beginning to look more like a plan. Because there was a time the present president that we have said he will make Nigeria ungovernable in 2011 after losing the elections to Jonathan, and we heard of how there were proclamations and students or youth corpers in Bauchi states were murdered. Nobody talks about all of that. But that was terrorism. And you know the funny thing? Due to all of these things, a lot of peace-loving people said we were going to let him enter. And they let him enter. But I still think he wants to go ahead to watch the country, even if it's not necessarily actualize, if he doesn't want to necessarily actualize that promise. Maybe he wants to watch the country happen the way he threatened.
Even under his watch?
Because it's beginning to look like that. Every day. Before now, we used to hear there is this in Nigeria, there is this problem, there's terrorism. Now what you hear, and it's scarier when you hear this from security heads, security chiefs, when they say Nigeria is bleeding, Nigeria is burning, Nigeria is this.
You don't have the equipment.
That's what we are supposed to be saying as citizens. And our leaders, our security chiefs are supposed to boost our morale by telling us nothing is happening. We are on top of it.
Yeah.
If this continues, before the third quarter of this year, mark my words, you should not be surprised if you hear a security chief saying, we need prayers for Nigeria.
I think they've started saying it already. Because
weeks ago, I remember some episodes ago, you people asked me what my take was on the new security chiefs, and I told you how much confidence I had in them. I made you realize that I needed to give them time.
Yeah, you
so
said
I made my time given. I made my time given. You're hearing the chief of army staff now, General Atahiru, say things like it's going to be difficult to tackle bandits. This is the same person I was saying had a meeting with the Cameroonian heads of service, and he's here saying, very soon he'll tell us to pray for Nigeria. What are you telling me? What weapons? I've seen, is it the bandits you catch? Are those weapons? Wait, 1 minute. The bandits you catch and you put them on TV, you put them on screen and you show us those weapons that you apprehended them with.
Yeah.
Are those not the same weapons? I don't think these rag-headed bandits have anything more sophisticated than what our government budgets for security. I don't think the weapons that we procure from all these countries, I don't think it is less sophisticated than what those bandits carry. I'm not a weapons expert, but I know old weapon when I see an old weapon. You see these bandits, they carry rusted guns that can even blow back at them, like that could ricochet back and hit them.
But the reports from the security agencies always come out to say that they're carrying AK-47.
That's what surprises me. That's what surprises me. It's a lackluster approach from them. It's like they're not even ready to tackle this thing. Because trust me, I don't even see the effort. I was rooting for this man. When you read that thing up, I was like, look at the person I'm actually rooting for. Because I was rooting for the new heads of service, the new chief of army staff, and how he said, we're going to wipe them out. I think those are just entry words. Those are what they come in with.
He gave ultimatum. Nobody talks about the ultimatums anymore.
But now look at what he's saying. He's saying it's going to be difficult because they have more sophisticated weapons, which, see, apart from the fact that the bandits are not coordinators, they could be running helter-skelter and they're willing to die. Unlike our military that's not willing to die. Yeah. Tell me, what sophistication do these bandits have? Like, what sophistication? These are bandits. You call them bandits. See, even if you go to your movies, even if you go to your books and read about bandits, there's nowhere in the world where bandits were said to have sophisticated weapons. And if bandits have sophisticated weapons, I think it is the duty of the DSS to find out who is funding them and how they're getting those sophisticated weapons. By now, you should be able to find it. If you can't find out who the bandits are, who's sponsoring them, find out how they're getting these weapons or find out the type of weapons they're using. If you've I'm speaking practically now. Whenever they apprehend bandits, you see them on TV, you see the weapons they put in front of these people. Don't you think that's a good unit to start talking about weapons from the kind of weapons they carry? The kind of weapons you see. Those are old weapons for crying out loud.
What I'm even getting from this is that if those are the weapons that our military and security establishments believe are
AK-47, AK-49,
are sophisticated weapons. Please, what are
they
soldiers?
What exactly are our soldiers now carrying? Because our soldiers carry AK-47s, clean ones. The bandits carry rusty guns, rusty old files, rusty old AK-47s. Nobody carries an AR-15 safe that you tell me it's a sophisticated 21st century rifle or something. And you tell me they carry sophisticated. It is always the same excuse. Sophisticated weapons, sophisticated weapons, sophisticated weapons. And okay, let's assume they carry sophisticated weapons. The bandits have sophisticated weapons, but they have substandard training. Our military carry less sophisticated weapons, but they have better training, they have superior training. So how about superior training countering sophisticated weapons? Like, I'm not a weapons expert, I'm not a security expert, I'm trying to practically analyze this thing for them.
Some of these things do not make sense to me.
Like, God.
Wait, how do you reconcile, now we are seeing bandits, or alleged bandits or whatever, attack military camps, police stations, but we have seen in the past where Sheikh Gumi will tell us that he's going to the forest to go and have conversations with these bandits. So he knows where the bandits are. Why is he still walking around freely and nobody is trying to use him to apprehend these bandits?
We're talking about Pantami. That's another sheikh. The sheikhs beginning to become
everything doesn't,
to be honest,
the whole thing is not adding up. It's just like we're watching a movie right now, so everything is just playing and the script doesn't even add up. Because at some point it should make sense.
I'm sorry, when Houston was saying that, they also tell us to pray for Nigeria. I wasn't picturing them telling us to pray for Nigeria. I was picturing like a press conference, the guy will just come out and say, fellow Nigerians, pack your load.
Hey, fuck you. No, it's not funny.
No, it is funny because
police station, military camp,
everything that you can think of that can go wrong under this administration has gone wrong.
And the things have become so common that the president does not need to address it again. Everything has become so normal, that there's no urgent press conference.
So the president that you sat back and elected by put thumbprint in for him is infallible. That's what you have to understand. That the mentality that he comes, I wish one day would sit down and use his antecedents to put together what his psychological profile is. If you put together the mindset of Buhari or somebody in Buhari's position, you'd be surprised at what Nigerians actually elected. Do you understand? Now you have somebody who is narrow-minded, who is small in his thinking, very, very small to the point that it's just him and those few group of people that do their things together. That's all that this presidency is about. It is just about them. Anything they say is what goes. In fact, he's not right now where he is. He's not interested with any other thing. Hey, just go and do the work and come back. I don't want to hear. I've told you to go and do something. That's the point. Yeah. So if you're not interested in coming to see whether I'm holding up, you're not checking my papers, you're not checking anything. Whatever I come to tell you stands. And whatever they try to tell you from outside, of course, you're already so guarded that the views of people from the outside cannot come to you unless it has been filtered through your people who will tell you that, you infallible one. These people are trying to lie on your head. That's basically what is happening. So,
Mr. Houston, you raised you raised an issue talking about you being disappointed in the new chief of army staff. But in his statement, he was appealing to the National Assembly, to provide these things to him because he cannot provide these things for himself. Do you think it's actually his fault, or do you think it's the fault of these bodies? Because he's a new guy in power right now. So maybe he came in, like the NSA said, he didn't meet weapons. He came in, he didn't meet equipment. So right now he's asking for these things.
I understand there's a funny chain of command in this government. So why is he appealing to the National Assembly? The National Assembly,
they are the appropriators.
Calm down. The National Assembly equally appeal to him. So they're appealing to him. He is appealing back to them because they're appealing to him to keep the peace and fight insecurity in Nigeria, and he's appealing to them. Now I want to ask a question: why is he not appealing to the person that the National Assembly listens to? I mean, the National Assembly are just a group of people. Who is the National Assembly? Just a group of people. They have somebody that they respect. There's somebody that's their God that they listen to, that they respect. Let him appeal to that person. And the National Assembly must answer him. I put it to him, they'll answer him. So appeal to the president, for crying out loud. Is he scared of the president? Or is the president not prepared to fight? Appeal to the president, and the president will command the National Assembly. It's simple. That's the country we have here.
Okay.
It's simple.
Houston, I like where you're going with this, but I wish that instead of commanding the National Assembly, he would go and bring those special ambassadors that have not accounted for 1 billion. Is it dollars now or naira?
Dollars.
Yeah, that group of special ambassadors. Who told us that
for special probe.
Please, they should come back. Whether they can borrow us money from their snake farm that they used to buy luxurious houses in Dubai and the UK, whether they can borrow us money from there, we don't know. Maybe we can use it and buy small Dane guns and give to our policemen. But by all means, Nigeria should not remove money from anywhere else again and give for security, sir.
No, wait. The people are dying though. Should these people die because of the mistakes of somebody?
Let's be very clear on one thing. It is a system. It is not the individuals. The system of leadership established by the Buhari administration ensures that anybody that comes in is not accountable to anybody for anything. That is it. So even if these people come in and you give them the money, it's the same Appian way that the money is going to follow. There's no reason to give the security forces any more money. There isn't any reason. Wow. The money already allocated. Listen, we have a budget, sir. We have a budget. They say the $1 billion pounds is not dollars is not missing. That contractors are supposed to deliver weapons. Blah 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 blah. Please let them fast track it. Of course, a sovereign state can write a contractor and say, listen, for so and so reasons, we want this shipment to be fast tracked. Emergency situations, if there's any what do they call it, barricade or whatever in the shipping line, they'll take those things off because there's an emergency, there are lives to be saved. No, the president cannot turn this to the National Assembly that will do the rubber stamp and give him back that money. No, they should go back and bring that money from wherever it is, or bring the weapons. That's what we want to use. That's what we paid for. Listen, the money that we paid in 2017 that was not used is the reason why today a military camp can be attacked. It is the reason why. So bring that money back, bring those weapons back. Let's start working from there. Listen, by the time we are going to the polls, I have a very strong feeling that it will just be bonanza of state of emergency. Imo State, bonanza, state of emergency, this one. Because you will not be able to explain it, sir. The people cannot go to the polls if the security establishment is not there. Do you understand? People who have the nerve to go and burn down police stations. It's you without your arms.
I understand where you're coming from, Sal. I understand your grievance. I understand what you're saying also. But what I'm trying to say is, for me, my basic concern here is stop. If you're serious about doing something, I think you should go to the. Okay. So, Henry, if you were chief of army staff, and you really meant to fight terrorism, like you really want to fight, you're dedicated, you want to fight, and you need these resources and everything. Be honest with yourself. Would you go after money that you know is gone? Because that money is gone. It is gone in this administration. Maybe the next administration might probe that money, but this is gone. Let's be practical, because we're being practical right now. We want to fight terrorism. So would you go after that? Or would you go to the National Assembly and ask them to approve something that you can actually get approved through one particular source? What would you do if you really mean to fight it?
Okay, so you see why the reason why.
So I think you know why I'm saying this. I think it's like a conspiracy. They're trying to what's the word? Like they're trying to slow down the process. They're trying to slow down the process, because if they really meant to fight terrorism in this country, you would go to the president. This is a president who is very, very good. Like, he's very, very efficient when it comes to taking loans from different countries. He's very good at it.
We just took new loans.
When you said very good, I was wondering, like, what is very good at?
They just took
He's very
new
good at
loans.
yes, he's very good at taking loans.
For security.
No, they don't take
They
it
claim
yet.
for
It's gotten
okay,
approval from-
And when our president wants to take loans, he doesn't beg the National Assembly.
And he doesn't like small money.
Yeah, it just says, I want this loan. And woe betide the National Assembly if they try. I don't know what will happen. We have not seen what will happen if anybody in the National Assembly kicks against the president.
We've seen
Okay, we'll see. Okay.
You don't go back.
Okay. So I'm trying to say, like,
Let's round
I'm trying
up,
to
let's
say,
move.
yeah, I'm trying to say, if he really wants to fight terrorism and he needs money for sophisticated weapons, go to the president. He will approve this thing. Or is the president not ready to fight terrorism? Does he just pay lip service to it?
It's probably just lip service, and bearing in mind that, according to the books, the president cannot approve those things. It is the National Assembly whose job it is to approve,
Anyway, hopefully things don't get worse. Hopefully we don't come back next week and this thing has escalated.
So I don't know where you are placing your hope.
I don't know,
but I
we have
expect
to
it to be
hope.
worse next week. I expect it to be worse
I
next
hope
week.
that it gets better.
Okay. Whatever deity you worship, I hope he answers.
Anyway, so moving on. The federal government, through the Minister of Information and Culture, Olai Mohammed, said that the decision by the United Kingdom to grant asylum to persecuted members of the indigenous people of Biafra, as IPOB, is disrespectful to Nigeria as a nation and amounts to sabotaging the fight against terrorism and generally undermining Nigeria's security. So the UK recently released the UK visas and immigration guidelines to its decision makers on how to consider and grant asylum applications to persecuted members of IPOB. In the just released Country Policy and Information Note Nigeria, Biafran secessionist groups, the Division of the Home Office of the UK directed its decision makers to consider if a person who actively and openly supports IPOB, that's in Nigeria, is likely to be at risk of arrest and detention and ill treatment, which is likely to amount to persecution. According to the guidelines, the decision makers must also consider if the Nigerian government's actions are acts of prosecution, and not persecution. Those fleeing prosecution or punishment for a criminal offense, this is according to the guidelines as well, are not normally refugees. It goes on to say prosecution may, however, amount to persecution if it involves victimization in its application by the authorities. So the guideline says the onus is on the applicants to demonstrate that they will be at risk of persecution or serious harm in Nigeria for them to be granted asylum. So the UK released these guidelines. Yeah? There's so much development on this stuff, which I'm just going to talk about. I'm not reading this thing again. So the UK released the guidelines during the week, basically to grant asylum to IPOB members in the country that we know are fighting for their independent state of Biafra. Saying that if they feel persecuted, they can apply to the UK and get this asylum. So these guidelines were released. The federal government went on to attack the UK, saying that they're trying to undermine the sovereignty of Nigeria, or attack its fight against terrorism in the country by granting asylum to these people. Then IPOB and MASOB came out as well to say, we do not want your asylum. That we believe you're working with the Buhari presidency, to stop our agitation for an independent state of Biafra. So another development happened today. Yeah, they did. IPOB did that. MASOB did that. And I looked at the whole thing and I'm like, oh, smart. You know, and I saw a lot of comments that were praising them for that as well. But there's so much back and forth with this whole thing with the UK guidelines. And before we started recording today, the guidelines we found out have been removed from the British website, you know, the embassy website, but they have not said that they have retrieved these guidelines. It's just not on the website anymore. Henrico, what do you think is going on here? You know, first of all, the UK come up with these guidelines, you know, to grant asylum. In my mind, I was thinking, okay, they are fighting to protect these people under the Buhari government. And the Buhari government, in their response, acted as if they were actually being fought by the British government, you know, trying to protect these Biafran agitators. And now the agitators say, we don't want your asylum. And meanwhile, I think there was a report earlier during the week that a lot of Igbos were already applying. They call them IPOB members, though, but we received a report that said they were not really IPOB members. They were actually Igbos that were seeking for better life outside of Nigeria. I know many Nigerians apply for asylum, you know, so they were just running under that umbrella to leave the country. You know, so what do you think about the guideline thing from the UK? Do you actually believe, you know, that they sincerely, genuinely meant this to protect these IPOB agitators? Or do you believe, like Masob and IPOB have alleged, that they are the British government is working in cahoots with the Buhari government to stop their agitation for an independent state of Biafra?
I think there are different key issues here. Firstly, one country in the rest of the world has finally called the Buhari regime what it actually is.
Yeah, that's what I thought at the beginning.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
For another sovereign state to offer, you remember what's happened in Myanmar? Yeah. For another sovereign state to come out publicly and say, listen, if you want refuge here and you can prove that you are
being persecuted.
Do you understand? So what they're saying is there's actually persecution going on in Nigeria. Do you understand? There's actually an abuse of power. There's no rule of law. That's what. Let's start from the foundation of it.
That's
so
what I actually saw
this scenario actually exists. Now, if this scenario exists, for that scenario to be escalated, sir, the number of reports has to be that high.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So it means that the reports have become so much that the British government cannot deny those reports because all of these things are being entered. You understand? They have in Parliament they get all of these reports. You understand? So you cannot. Of course, we know that Britain was guilty at so many points during the Civil War. You understand? They are probably trying to keep their house intact this time around. They don't want what happened before to happen again. Do you understand? So they're saying, look, listen, we have seen these reports from these people, from this part of Nigeria. If you can prove beyond reasonable doubt that there's enough reason for us to give you asylum, we'll give you asylum. Do you understand? That's what that policy is about. Now, about the number of people who are applying for it is Nigeria. And to be honest, sir, it is already very difficult to live in this country. So if you have anything that's going to get you out of this place, you should use it. And I think that's just what Nigerians are doing. Now, for Masob and IPOB, I understand their skepticism.
Their fear.
When you've been in the trenches for that long, you should not trust anybody. You get what I'm saying? However, I would not like for the pronouncements of their leadership to stand in the way of young people who are actually being persecuted, because the military is functional in the southeast. You understand? The police are there. They are picking up IPOB boys every other day. Every other day. You understand? So if this gives an opportunity for some of these young lads to get out of this pressure that they're in, I don't think Masob and IPOB should stand in their way. I think they should.
And it doesn't stop the agitation.
Exactly.
Because they're not saying you must come. If you feel persecuted,
exactly,
we're offering you these. I got it from where you saw it.
So this is the way. This is how I see the whole situation.
You're looking at me. I felt scared right now. Do you see this differently? Like, you gave me that look. Do you see this differently? I know you can relate. You know, what do you think about the guidelines?
The government is saying the British government is undermining their sovereignty,
sovereignty, and interfering in the fight against terrorism in the country by these guidelines.
Do you cut off the head of a yam and expect the body not to taste like yam? I think there was a time when they had this agreement with the same British government on repatriation of funds. And some people said, if you insist that the government, the federal government, should take possession of this money, this state's money, even though the state happens to be the victim, don't you think the UK government is undermining your sovereignty? This is the first time I heard them bring up this sovereignty stuff. And it was actually Femi Falana who said this. He said, if the UK is giving you money and telling you what to do with your own money, that undermines your sovereignty. The government never looked at it that way, but they're looking at the foreign government undermine their sovereignty as them offering asylum to IPOB members. Okay, that's one. Secondly, doesn't this send a message to the government? They never offered Boko Haram terrorist group. They never offered them asylum because everybody saw what they did. The international observers, international communities, everybody saw what they did, what they've been doing and what they're still doing. They haven't offered bandits because, of course, the bandits are feeling fine. The bandits are living real good right now. Like banditry is a very lucrative job right now in the north. So the British people are not offering them because they are not being persecuted. Instead, they're the ones persecuting people. So they're not offering them. But this set of terrorists that only affect the president who prescribed them are being offered. In my life, I've never seen where one government in the whole world prescribe a particular group of people terrorists, call one group of people terrorists, and no other country comes to support it. This is the first time I'm seeing this government call IPOB members terrorists. One country, no other country came to support that. Now, international countries are inviting these terrorists. People who are more scared. One of the countries who abhor terrorism is inviting your own terrorists to come. And so, see, it's funny.
That's crazy.
It's funny because clearly, what the British are saying right now, it's safe for any Nigerian to say IPOB members are not terrorists, or they are only terrorists to the presidency. They are not terrorists to us. They are not terrorists to other people. Because if they go to the UK, they will worship in their churches. They'll get treatment from their hospitals. They'll go to their schools.
They even see them as being persecuted.
They still see this presidential terrorist. They still see this presidential terrorist as being persecuted in Nigeria. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I still don't understand. I need somebody, maybe the presidency or Nigerians, to make me understand better what IPOB members really are. Okay, that's one. Secondly, again, I think it is unfair that the British are actually offering only IPOB members. I actually think it's unfair that they are offering just IPOB members asylum. I think you should offer every Nigerian youth who has a dream asylum, because it's not just IPOB members that are being oppressed or that are being persecuted. Because see, right now in this administration, I don't think there's any youth. I told you the last time, 2 episodes ago, I said we have 3 categories of Nigerians right now. We have Nigerians in diaspora, Nigerians in government, and Nigerians. Basically, in this country, the war right now, it's like the silent war that's going on is between Nigerians in government and Nigerians. That is what it is right now in this country. And Nigerians in government are the ones in charge. Nigerians are suffering. Nigerians need asylum. Open your borders. It shouldn't just be the UK. It might be too much weight or too much load for the UK to bear. I think the European Union should open up their borders for Nigerians, well-meaning Nigerians with dreams, to be able to come in, because every youth in this country is being persecuted. That's my take on this.
Wow. That's a deep one. I'm just going to end that segment there, because I believe a lot of dreams are wasting in this country. You know, a lot of lives are wasting from banditry, from terrorism. A lot of dreams are wasting from lack of opportunities. Do you realize last week we talked about Twitter opening up their stuff? Yeah. This morning, I saw that Hyundai, Kia are joining Nissan, Toyota, Suzuki to set up their plants in Ghana, the same Ghana. Is Ghana the new giant of Africa? Like, I celebrate Ghana. Like, I'm really happy for them. Germany set up something there as well.
But do you realize what we're losing? Like, on a daily basis. Do you realize what we're losing? So I'm trying to like feed into their points. The people who are running the affairs, people who are the corridor of power and running the things in the country, running Nigeria right now. I'm trying to feed into their points. I understand what you want. I support what you want. You don't want progression. You want recession. You don't want this country to move forward. I completely understand with you, and I concur with you. So what I'm saying to these people who are running Nigeria right now, this administration, you do not want this country to progress. Clearly, a country that's not progressive is definitely not even a country worth being together. So if some people are saying they're dissatisfied with this union and they want to leave, why don't you still let them leave? Do you just want everyone to suffer? You want to turn Nigeria to the new Somalia? What exactly is happening?
Anything on the UK guideline thing, or do we just move on? All right, so let's get to our final topic for today. Oh my God, it's just been a lot, especially that security issue was very heavy on me to talk about. So a bill to establish a National Livestock Bureau for the purpose of livestock identification, cattle rustling control, registration, and livestock disease control passed through second reading at the 9th Senate on Tuesday. The bill, which was sponsored by Senator Muhammadu Buhari, is aimed at sensitizing the livestock industry and addressing the persistent farmers-herders clashes as well as cattle rustling in the country. Senator Enagi, while addressing the Red Chamber, said that the proposed legislation will greatly enhance the development of the country's livestock industry, arguing that the movement of livestock and their products has increased the spread of diseases, increased the threat to human health, and reduced consumer confidence in animal production. The Bureau was established. The Bureau, when established, will ensure the traceability of animal products into the country in order to safeguard the citizens, the lives of the citizens. Oqua, what do you think about this national Livestock Bureau bill that's passed second reading at so they are saying this, the only part that concerns me here, they said this will reduce farmer herders clash. So they are trying to basically right now control the cattle, the rearing of cattle in the country. I'm wondering why they're paying so much attention to this cattle thing. Because we're supposed to establish ranches. That's supposed to be the solution to this problem now. So why do we have another bill for National Livestock Bureau? For the purpose of livestock identification. What does that mean? To identify all the cows in Nigeria?
NIN for cows.
Hey, wait to Mr. Houston. So livestock identification. Do we need to identify all the cows in Nigeria? Please wait. Cattle rustling control, I can agree with. Registration of what? Do we need to register all the cows in Nigeria? Then livestock disease control, I can understand that one. But I have a problem with the identification of cows and the registration of cows, please.
It's simple. For me, I really don't have much to say about this, but I want to speak to those cows. Cows.
Like the crazy thing about because it's not assembly in Nigeria. That one is even an insult.
No,
what our reps. See, somebody sits down in the house, you think, as the House of Reps member, what can I do to contribute? My own quota to the country. Okay, let me establish whatever bureau to identify cows, to register cows.
Do you know? I have a personal agenda right now. Between now and 2023, I have a personal agenda. Do you know what my personal agenda is?
What's your personal agenda, Biko?
Looking past this administration, getting past President Buhari.
That's a long time.
It's a long. That's why I say it's an agenda. Agendas aren't accomplished in one day. So it's an agenda for me. It's something I'm following mentally, physically. I'm trying to get past this presidency right now, and I just need to speak to those cows because they've already turned them to important persons in this country. They've turned them to important animals or whatever it is. Cows, wherever you are, we have national ID card, we have driver's license, we have international passport, we have BVN, we have voter's card, we have so many means of identification or data capturing or data preserving, whatever it is. And people are still dying in this country, people are still being missing, no one is still being accounted for. I don't think you should take it. Cows, wherever you are, I don't think you should take it seriously because no, they won't take it seriously. You will see, you will still get me. You still go missing. They've not finished with human beings. People should not worry because I have to address the cows right now. Because what do you want me to do? Address human beings? No, I'm going to address the cows because clearly that's what it is.
Now, well, like I saw this thing like trending, you know, and the heading was the federal government is trying to establish like a data for cows in the country, a database for country.
So I want to say on a less playful note, it is.
I wasn't playing, by the way.
It is a welcome development.
Welcome development.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe for the farmers here that's clash.
Yeah, for that and
disease control.
Disease control is part of it. But you see in animal production, there's a huge value chain. What is happening in Nigeria with respect to animal production, that's of meat and of dairy products, is similar to what's happening with mining. Do you understand? There's a lot of potential. Only a few people are connected in there, and all the wealth that they suck out, they keep for themselves. Now, you see the herders that you see with cows on the road. So those cows don't belong to them.
Yeah, we know
the system basically is that I have a farm of maybe 100, 200, 300 cattle, and it is costing me more to keep those cattle in one place to feed them because I do not want to service the value chain to bring for hay production. I do not want to service the value chain for the people that will come and milk and pack this milk and go out. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I will go to the nomadic settlements and tell them, listen, give me 2 of your boys to herd 12 cattle. Give me another 2 to herd another 12. Give me this, give me this, give me that. So they bring these boys out. It's something similar to the apprenticeship thing that goes on in Igbo land, but it's a bit it's more informal. Do you understand? So they say, give me these boys. They're serving me. You understand? There's somebody who is on top of this group of boys, and these boys take out the cattle and they bring them back every day. Now, sir, what happens is when one of those boys goes out and does not return with the cattle, and he brings report of these cattle have been rustled from me, that man cannot tell the truth whether those cattle have actually been rustled or not. Do you understand? Now, when that boy carries those cattle to a farm in Oyo, and somebody is killed in the process, you do not know whose cattle that was. All you see is the boy that is standing in front, the one that the locals will most likely kill and do away with. Meanwhile, there's a rich man at the top of that value chain whose responsibility it is. You get what I'm saying? So at that level, I believe that yes, proper documentation. Listen, if we are going to, if these cows are so important, and this is the one thing that we are actually going to get right in Nigeria, so if we get it right, there's a potential for not just the expansion economy wise. Certain unnecessary cultural clashes can actually be separated. You understand? Now, there's the last part of that. If you see a herder in your farm with cattle and he has weapons, listen, those boys cannot buy the kind of weapons that we have been hearing about. They can't buy those weapons, you understand? So who has purchased that weapon and given to that boy? You get what I'm saying? So when it comes to actually prosecuting cases on farmer herders clashes, I think it will provide some level of formality, you understand, to the whole situation. My only problem is that, as with every other thing that we do, we don't understand the timing of the announcement of certain policies. We don't understand. Now, this is just a second reading. Imagine that it probably went under the radar in the first reading. You understand what I'm saying? So now, what is important, what I feel like any other person apart from this administration should try to do, carry the people along. Get somebody to engage with the people and let them understand the thinking behind the policy that you have brought to bear. You can't make all the choices that you have made all through these years, get to this point and tell us that you are releasing NIN for cows. Yeah? Even if it is a commendable thing, people will never want to see it for what it is. You get? I will tell you the truth. I am looking past a lot of anger to get to this point and say, sir, this is a good idea. However, the timing
If
is
it's carried
terrible.
out properly, though, if it's carried out properly, I think it could be a good, like the way you broke it down, if it's followed through thoroughly. But if we're going to treat this as just a money-making machine and not handle it the way they have spelled out and you have broken down that it's supposed to be handled to actually curb the problems that it's supposed to curb, then if they're not going to handle it like that, they should just stop, to be honest. Don't waste our time. Don't raise our hopes. Don't give us new ideas that you're not going to follow through. Anyway, thank you guys for today. I think we had a good one today. So today was good. Henry Oqua, it's great to have you back.
I'm happy to be back.
You
I'm
see
sorry
how
for
your
yesterday. For last night.
how your importance is on this.
Sorry for last night.
Last night for last time.
Last time I said,
Last time.
Last time.
Yeah.
Please, not last night.
Anyway, thank you guys for watching this video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Yes, it's on that side, Henry Oqua, you're right. Click the subscribe button. We know we're not celebrities here. We're coming up. We're treating serious national issues, yeah? So until next week. Okay, YouTube is page 36 TV. Page 36 TV. So until next week, thank you. See you.